Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We'll begin the class with our prayers. Om Jnanatmirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manavishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopikakanta Radhakanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निधि नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाशाद्यदेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So, welcome everyone. We are beginning our third canto of Bhagavatam today. So, in the beginning of the Bhagavatam discussions, we discussed how Srimad Bhagavatam is the form of the Lord. And first and second cantos, they are the lotus feet of the Lord. Pado yadiyo prathamo dvitiyo tritiya turya pachito yadavru. And third canto is the calf. Fourth canto is the thigh of the Lord. So that's how we have discussed in great detail the lotus feet of the Lord. And now we'll be going to the third canto of the Lord, that is the calves of the Lord. So the beauty of the third canto is there are so many different ranges of topics are discussed there. So many wonderful personalities are mentioned in this topic, in this canto. And again, in this canto, we'll discuss about creation. In first canto, in second canto, 2 times the creation has come, the Virata Rupa. In third canto, 3 times again it will come. Sorry, first canto 3 times, second canto 3 times it has come, second canto 2 times more it will come. So creation, subcreation, then embryology will be described in the third canto, 30th chapter. So, and then Kapil Dev describes in detail about the family life and the Sankhya Yoga and Bhakti, Ashtanga, Karma. Everything will be described in great detail here. And Sukadeva Goswami is such a wonderful speaker. And of course, it is Maitreya and Vidura Samvad going on. So Maitreya Muni also, by answering the questions of Vidurji, he is weaving a beautiful conversation by presenting various stories and various examples he gives. And then so many wonderful personalities, prayers will be there. The story will begin with Vidurji, how he was thrown out of the palace, what was his reaction. Then the sentiments of Uddhav will be described in the second and third chapter. Then Maitreya Muni comes in the picture. Then again Brahma, and the wonderful discussion of the Jai Vijay, cursed by Kumaras, very wonderful topic is there. Then the remaining of the chapter describes about Hiranyaksha also, and then Devahuti appears in detail, Devahuti Kardamuni Samvad, and then Kapila Samvad, it is described. So that's how this whole canto will go on. So the first 4 chapters describe conversations between Vidur and Uddhav. Then the 8 chapters describe Sarga and Visarga. And then Varaha Dev appearance is also described there. That takes 7 more chapters. And then subsequently Visarga, and then 4 chapters describe Kapila Dev's pastimes. And then the teachings of Kapil Dev appears there. So all this is there in the third canto. So how this third canto begins? Anyone remembers what happened at the end of the second canto? Where we stopped? Second canto, how it ended? In the 8th chapter of second canto, Shukdev Parikshit Maharaj had asked so many questions, and then Shukdev Goswami starts answering. And after describing creation in detail, in the end, he said, now I am going to describe Padma Kalpa, that thing, that creation which happened on the beginning of the day of Brahma. So as the sages of Naimisharan, they are hearing this discussion between Shukdev and Parikshit Maharaj. They were little, bored to nahi bol sakte hain, but but they were thinking, ठीक है अभी थोड़ा सा creation बहुत सुन लिया, थोड़ा सा अभी थोड़ा सा pastimes we want to hear. So they remind Sut Goswami. You told in the 13th chapter of the first canto, Vidurji left. And why he left? He came back from pilgrimage. So why he actually left the palace? And where all he went? And he met Maitreya also. The wonderful discussions must have happened. So please tell us about that. So that's where the chapter ended. And Shukdev Goswami. So Sut Goswami says, well, Parikshit Maharaj also asked the same question to Shukdev Goswami after hearing this. And that's how this third canto begins. So the first chapter is entitled as Questions by Vidura. Prishuka uvacha evametat prishto Maitreyo Bhagwan kila Pravanam pravishtena Tyatva swagriham riddhimat.
Swami said, after renouncing his prosperous home and entering the forest, King Vidura, the great devotee, asked this question of his grace Maitreya Rishi.
Okay, so Evam etat pura prishto, as asked by Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami began the Okay. So after announcing his prosperous home, King Vidura asked this question to his grace Maitreya Rishi. So Shukdev Goswami says that, so now there are three conversations going on here. So Shaunakadi Rishi पूछते हैं Sut Goswami को. So then he says, so Parikshit also asked the same question to Shukdev. And then Shukdev Goswami is saying, same question was asked by Vidurji to Maitreya. So question ke andar question, story ke andar story is going on. So that's how he starts. What happened? Yadvayam mantra kritvo Bhagavan Akhileshwaraha Indra griham hitva Praviveshat masat kritam.
About the residential Pandavas, Sri Krishna, the Lord of everything, acted as he was in ministry. He used to enter that house as if it were his own, and he did not take any care of the house.
Yes. So the question was, why Vidurji left his home? Because that home was the place where Lord came himself. It was the place of pilgrimage. So why he left? So in response to that question, he is asking, Ayam va yadva ayam. What else is there to say about the residential house of Pandavas? Bhagavan Akhileshwara, Sri Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is Akhileshwara, Vaha Mantrakrit, he acted as your advisor, gave up the house of Duryodhan, Pauravendra Griham Hitva. He didn't care about Duryodhan's house. And Yad Pravivesha, he entered the house of Vidura. Atmasat Kritam, thinking as if it is his own house. So Prabhupada writes in the purport, According to Gaudiya Vaishnava philosophy, Achintya Bheda Bhed, anything which satisfies the senses of Supreme is also Krishna. Vrindavan Dham is not different from Krishna. House of Pandavas was also the source of transcendental bliss for the Lord. So it is mentioned here that the Lord identified the house with his own self. Thus, the house of Pandavas was as good as Vrindavan. So this verse shows that how holy places, holy men, they are more important than holy places. Bhavad vidha bhagavataha tirtha bhuta swayam bhugo tirthi kurvanti tirthani. That's what Yudhishthir tells when Vidurji comes back. Because the holy man's presence makes the holy place holy. So that's why Krishna also gives so much importance to the place where devotee is there. He's not caring to go to the house of Duryodhana. So Prabhupada writes that Vidurji should not have given up that place of transcendental bliss. Therefore, the reason for quitting the house was not exactly family misunderstanding. Rather, Vidurji took the opportunity to meet Rishi Maitreya and discuss transcendental knowledge. So devotee will never quit service because of problems, because he is not mukti kami. It is the easiest thing to give up service. Any problem is there, mani seva karunga. That is the easiest thing to do. I will not do service. No problem I am doing and मेरे को इतना गाली पड़ रहा है, so नहीं करूँगा. I am doing with the best of my capacity still. So it is very easy to give up service, but our actual devotee, mature devotee, doesn't give up the service. So that's how a devotee, he is not concerned with the externals of Krishna consciousness. Bhakti is ahetuki and apratihata. It is not dependent on anything external. So therefore, we should not become attached to a particular service. Service is not important. Serving is important. We should be attached to doing service, not a particular service. So that's how we have to be attached to Krishna, and whatever is needed, whatever is essential, a devotee does. He is not interested in doing this service only. Ye seva nahi denge to I will not do my service. I am going. That means he is not interested in serving Krishna. He is interested in his own comfort. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that Vidur should have not given up his house, which was superior to all pilgrimage places to which he went. So Prabhupada and Chakravarti Thakur gives slightly different meanings to this verse. So Chakravarti Thakur says, this home is the home of Vidura. So because Krishna went there, it is a pilgrimage place. And then Prabhupada writes that Pandavas were also staying at one point of time in that place, in the palace of Duryodhana, Hastinapur. One point of time, Krishna also went there. So it was also pilgrimage. Why he left this? So two different meanings, but the essence is same. Many times Prabhupada does that. Prabhupada gives slightly different understanding. In Bhagavad Gita, where is the first time where we see different meanings of verse given by Prabhupada and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur? Sri Baldev Vidyabhushan and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur gives two different meanings for same verse. Aparyaptam tadasmakam balam bhishmabhirakshitam parayaptam tudemetesham balam bhimabhirakshitam. So what is the meaning? Prabhupada writes, Aparyaptam tadasmakam, my army is protected by most powerful Bhishma. So therefore my strength is immeasurable. So aparyaptam means this is immeasurable. And Bhima is protected by, Pandavas are protected by Bhima, so they have limited strength. Parayaptam. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is Rasacharya. He gives different meaning. He says, Parayapta means Duryodhana is making a prophecy कि मेरी army तो anyways पर्याप्त नहीं है. So I am going to get defeated. And Pandavas, they are Paryapta, they are sufficient. So that's how various acharyas, they give different meanings. So then he continues. So after hearing this, Parikshit Maharaj asks a question. Raja Uvacha
राजोवाच
Putra Shatur Bhagavata Sangamaha Kadavasa Samvada
कदा वा स संवादः
Varnayana Prabho.
एतद्वर्णय प्रभु.
The king asked Sukadeva Goswami, where and when did the meeting and discussion take place between Saint Vidura and his grace Maitreya Muni? Kindly oblige my lord and describe his story.
O Prabhu, O Master, Kutra Shattaha, Shattu means Vidura. Another name of Vidura is Shattaha. So where did Vidura met the great sage Maitreya? Bhagavata Maitreyanasa Sangamaha. So Bhagavata means powerful sage. Prabhupada says with his grace Maitreya. So at some place Prabhupada writes, in Chaitanya Charitamrita, at one place, the Advaitacharya is described, Prabhupada writes, His Divine Grace Advaitacharya. So Prabhupada uses different words. So where did Vidurji met powerful Maitreya and Kadavaka Saha Samvada? What did they speak with each other? Kya baat kiye? Because when businessmen meet, they will discuss about business. When devotees meet, they will discuss about something devotional, something about Krishna. So please describe etad varnayanaha. Please describe this. So in every canto, Parikshit Maharaj is showing his eagerness to hear. No, please keep on speaking. I am not satisfied. So Bhagavatam, the speakers and audience, they are supposed to inspire each other. Bhagavat speaker always needs encouragement to speak, and the audience also should be eager. So one time Prabhupada was in Mayapur and he asked after a class, any questions? So one devotee, so everybody was tired, so nobody asked questions. Prabhupada said, you should ask questions. Somebody please ask. So so one devotee raised his hand and said, Prabhupada, such and such a thing is given in Bhagavatam. Is this true? Prabhupada said, you are quoting from Bhagavatam and asking if this is true. What type of nonsense question is this? And usko pura sauce mil gaya, So Prabhupada said, you should ask relevant questions and you should have faith. So one time Prabhupada did a program at Birla's house. And after the class, he asked, any questions? Nobody asked questions. So then later Prabhupada said, they were not interested because they didn't ask questions. So that's what Prabhupada would always say. If nobody asks question, that means the audience is not so interested. They are just hearing for the namesake. So questions are very important. So Prabhupada writes, the king was very anxious to understand the meaningful discussion that took place between the two great souls. Fourth is a very, very beautiful verse where Parikshit Maharaj is telling, why you should tell me this? Nahi alparthodayastasya vidurasya amalatmanaha tasmin variyasi prashnaha sadhuvadopabrimhitaha.
Vidura was a great and pure devotee of the Lord, and therefore his question is Rishi Maitreya must have been very purposeful, on the highest level and approved by learned circles.
So nahi alpa artha udaya tasya. Alpa artha, it must be very, very purposeful. Alpa artha means not meaningful, but na alpa artha. It must be very, very powerful discussion, purposeful discussion. Tasya, the questions to Maitreya Rishi must have been very purposeful. And because who is asking the question, that is also important. Vidurasya, great devotee who is Amalatma, he is a pure devotee. He is asking questions. So if a new devotee in ISKCON asks question and a person who has spent 20 years, he is asking questions, so question has some weightage. कौन पूछ रहा है उसके ऊपर भी depend करता है. So he is asking Vidurji is asking questions. And he's asking to Maitreya. He is Bhagwan Maitreya. Powerful. Therefore, Variyasi Prashna. So question must be on the highest level. And the answer also must be on the highest level. And Sadhu Vadopa Brahmhitaha. And it must be approved by learned circles. In the first canto also, 18th chapter, the sages are telling Suta Goswami that Tanno Bhavan Vai Bhagavat Pradhano Mahattamekant Parayanasya Harerudaram Charitam Vishuddham Shushrushatam No Vitanotu Vidwan. Oh Suta Goswami, you are such a great devotee, Bhagavat Pradhan, and we are discussing Krishna Katha, and we are eager to hear. So all this is wonderful combination. So Prabhupada writes that questions and answers. Somebody can read this purport.
Questions and answers among different classes of men have different value. Inquiries by mercantile men in a business exchange cannot be expected to be highly purposeful in spiritual values. Questions and answers by different classes of men can be guessed by the caliber of the persons concerned. In Bhagavad Gita, the discussion was between Lord Sri Krishna and Arjuna, the supreme person and the supreme devotee respectively. The Lord admitted Arjuna to be his devotee and friend, and therefore any sane man can guess that the discussion was on the topic of the Bhakti Yoga system. Actually, the whole Bhagavad Gita is based on principles of Bhakti Yoga. There is a difference between karma and karma yoga. Karma is regulated action for the enjoyment of the fruit by performer, but the karma yoga is action performed by the devotee of the devotee for the satisfaction of the Lord. Karma yoga is based on bhakti or pleasing the Lord, whereas karma is based on pleasing the senses of the performer himself.
Okay, so that's how Prabhupada is describing. The questions are very important. And because Arjuna is such a great devotee, Bhakto Asime Sakha Cheti. So therefore, Krishna has spoken Bhagavad Gita to him. So that's how. The similar thing comes in the in the beginning of the second canto. When Shukdev Goswami he hears the questions of Parikshit Maharaj, what did he say? How does he begin? By glorifying Parikshit Maharaj. Varyaneshate prashnaha krito lokahitam kripa. O king, your questions are beneficial for entire human society. So that's how the conversation of the great souls, they are beneficial for everyone. So Prabhupada writes, as a student, Maharaj Parikshit was serious about learning the science of God, and Shukdev Goswami was a bona fide spiritual master. So in the previous paragraph, Prabhupada writes, a common man who has no interest in spiritual values, has no need to approach a spiritual master just as a matter of fashion. So people say, हमारे भी गुरु हैं, हम भी जाते हैं, ये हमारे गुरु हैं, और हमारे घर में भी उनका मंदिर है, उनका फोटो लगाते हैं. We are also spiritual, but they don't do anything spiritual. They just give some donation and then they do anything they want. So that is not the right understanding. So therefore, they should not approach a spiritual master just to make a fashion statement कि हमारे भी गुरु हैं. I have this business and I have this house, I have a car and I have a guru also. So that adds to their value, social value. That हम spiritual में, we have our spiritual aspect also, have a guru also. That is not the right understanding. So Suta Goswami, he continues when he hears, the sages, they are asking, and Suta Goswami continues. Suta Uvacha. Yes.
Double negatives are mentioned at various places in Bhagavatam. So like Nahi Alpa. So it is negative. Many places it comes.
Yes.
So is it to give more emphasis or
Yes.
is it another reason for that?
Yes, that is the way of, that is the alankar. That is the way you present a word in a different way to emphasize something. Alpa arth nahi hoga. So it is very, very important, and it was not less important. So it is another way of speaking. So it depends on the speaker, how he is presenting the facts. So not just anything technical about it, because Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur doesn't write anything about why he is presenting this way, but it is a way a person presents whatever his way of presenting. So Shukdev Goswami must be presenting like this, or whoever is speaking. That is called as Kaimutika Nyaya. So that is also, मतलब इतना तो नहीं होगा तो मतलब ये बात कर रहे हैं तो कितना बड़ा हो. That's this called as Kaimutika Nyaya. Another place we have heard is Rupa Goswami says, please do not go to the bank of Keshi and see the beautiful threefold bending form of Krishna, otherwise all your desires will go away. You will not be able to enjoy the association of your family members. So he is saying, you should go. So it is another way of presenting the facts. Why are you going? You should not go if you are attached to family. That is Kaimutika Nyaya. Okay. Suta Uvacha. Evam Rishivaryoyam Shoragya Parikshita Vidyahatam Subahuvid Puyata.
Goswami said, the great sage Sukadeva Goswami was highly experienced and was pleased with the king. Thus, being questioned by the king, he said to him, please hear the topics attentively.
So, because Shukdev Goswami was an experienced speaker, so therefore when questions was asked, he was happy. So, नए devotee को tension रहता ना अभी क्या question पूछ लेंगे. Many times in a temple in Bhagavatam class, devotees, class is supposed to end by 9:15. So they, almost everyone just completes by 9:15, 9:16, and they say, as there is no time, we will not take questions. Because, सामने इतने बड़े-बड़े लोग बैठे हैं, कौन क्या पूछ लेगा? So especially when some new person is giving, so it is great tapasya for him to speak in front of all big people. So but Shukdev Goswami is happy, he was experienced. Rishi Varya, he was great Rishi and he was completely Subahuvit. Subahuvit, he is know, and with means to know, Bahuvit means अच्छे से Subahuvit, मतलब उससे ऊपर को है ही नहीं. He is greatly experienced. Subahuvit. Double PhD. So he is very happy. Pritatma. Shruyatamiti. When he heard, he was very, very happy. So that's how question should inspire the speaker to speak more. Anywhere we have discussed this, heard this, a person asked something to a speaker and he said, "Arey kya question? You have made my life." Second canto mein aata hai exactly. Who says to whom? Brahma. Yes. Brahma is telling, Samyak karunikasya edam vatsate vichikitsitam tadaham chodita samya bhagavad virya darshane. You have shown extreme mercy on me by asking this question. Samyak karunikasya edam. Pura kripa kiya hai aapne. Because Bhagavad virya darshane, you have inspired me to speak about Krishna more. So that's how a speaker becomes enlivened when he is asked questions. Shri Shuka Uvacha Yada tu Raja Swasutan Asadhun
यदा तु राजा स्वसुतान्
Dharmena Vinashta Drishtihi
पुष्णान् धर्मेण विनष्टदृष्टिः
Sutan Vibandhun
स्वसुतान् विबन्धुन्
Laksha Bhavane Dadaha.
प्रवेशलाक्षाः भवने ददाः.
Sukadeva Goswami said, King Dhritarashtra became blind under the influence of impious desires to nourish his dishonest sons, and thus he set fire to the lacquer house to burn his fatherless nephews, the Pandavas.
So Shukdev Goswami is not telling Duryodhan burnt. He is saying Dhritarashtra became blind and he set fire. So actually he was not, practically he was not involved personally, but because he gave permission. He sanctioned the, sinful acts of Duryodhan. So therefore he is responsible. So Prabhupada writes, he was blind from birth, but his blindness in committing impious activities to support his dishonest sons was a greater blindness. And then Prabhupada writes, very important. Physical lack of sight does not bar one from spiritual progress. But when one is blind spiritually, even though physically fit, that blindness is dangerously detrimental to the progressive path of life. Is vinashta drishtihi. So Shukdeva Goswami is now giving a background of why Vidurji left home. He starts little, before. That's how speaker begins. So कथाकार ऐसे रहते हैं, क्वेश्चन पूछे ये और शुरू करते हैं एकदम, मुझे बोले मैंने क्वेश्चन किधर पूछा, ये तो पीछे ही चलेगा एकदम, So that's how Shukdev Goswami is making a full background story of why Vidurji left home. यदा सभायां कुरुदेव देव्याः
यदा सभायां कुरुदेव देव्याः
केशाभिमर्शं सुतकर्म गर्ह्यम्
केशाभिमर्शं कृतकर्मगतिं
न वारयामास नृपास्नुषायाः वस्त्रैर्हरन्त्या कुचकुङ्कुमानि
The king did not forbid his son Dushasana, abominable action of grabbing the hair of Draupadi, the wife of the godly king Yudhishthira, even though her tears washed the red dust on her breast.
So Yada Nripaha, that king Dhritarashtra, na varayamas, he did not forbid Sut Karma Garhyam, that abominable action of his own son. When Kurudeva Devya, who is Kurudeva Devya? Draupadi. So when she was being dragged by the Dushasan, he didn't stop him. And she was crying, Shnusaya, nephew's wife. Shnusaya means nephew's wife. He didn't say anything. And she was crying, weeping tears. But he didn't stop him. Chakravarti Thakur writes that. Also indicated that she would wash away the kumkum on the breasts of enemies' wives with their tears, when she would have their husbands killed. This is fourth type of Atishayokti. Atishayokti Alankar. So, because she's crying, her tears will wash away all the enemies' wives' kumkum also. Dyute twadharmena jitasya sadhoh satyavalambasya vanam gatasya naya chatoda samayena dayam amo jushano yadajata shatroh.
Yudhishthira was born without any enemy, was unfairly defeated in gambling. But because he had taken the vow of truthfulness, he went off to the forest. When he came back in due course and begged the return of his rightful share of the kingdom, he was refused by Dhritarashtra, who was overwhelmed by illusions.
So wherever Duryodhana has done something, Shukdeva Goswami is telling Dhritarashtra has done. He was refused by Dhritarashtra. He was silently standing, waiting. He was not saying anything, but he didn't even oppose. So therefore, he is responsible. In fact, in Mahabharata, Vyasadeva says there is a tree of dharma and there is a tree of adharma. So he describes that in this tree of dharma, he says the trunk is Arjuna, and the root is Krishna, Dharma, and religious principles. And the branches, they are branch, first branch is Bhima, and the Patra and the Pushpa, they are Nakul and Sahadeva. So that is the tree of religion. Yudhishthir is the tree of religion. And in the tree of irreligion, that is Duryodhan. The trunk is, who is the trunk of this tree of irreligion? Anyone can guess?
Dhritarashtra?
No.
Dushyasan?
No.
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 Kali?
Huh?
Karna.
Karna.
Shakuni.
Skandha Karna. Shakunis, I was remembering the verse abhi yaad aa gaya. Skandha Karna Shakunis tasya shakha Dushashana Pushpa Phale Samriddhe Moolam Raja Dhritarashtro Amanishi. Dhritarashtra is the root of this tree of religion. Skandha is the tree, trunk is Karna. Shakuni tasya shakha. Shakuni is the branches. And Dushashana Pushpa Phale Samriddhe. Dushashana is the fruit. Root. He is the entire tree itself. So this is the tree of Adharma. And tree of Dharma is Yudhishthir. I'm not remembering the exact shlok. Very beautiful shlok is there. Pehla word yaad nahi aayega to yaad nahi aata. So beautifully. So therefore, Dhritarashtra, whatever he is doing, he is responsible. Whatever is happening in the Mahabharata, who is the responsible person? Dhritarashtra. Although he presents himself as a very, very, मतलब क्या करूं, मैं तो helpless हूं, I cannot do anything, I am blind person, but he is the one who is responsible for everything. So people think Dhritarashtra was in ignorance, he didn't get good counsel. So many people came to give him counsel. Even Akrura came, and Krishna, and in Bhagavatam it comes. Dhritarashtra is telling that, your words, they are like lightning. They illuminate the darkness of my sky for few seconds, and then it is gone. They don't stay in my heart. And Vidurji was telling again and again, and that's how it will come. So therefore, such a person is responsible for whatever has happened. Prabhupada writes in the purport, Yudhishthira was the rightful heir of the kingdom, but just to favor his sons, Dhritarashtra adopted unfair means to cheat his nephews. At last, Pandavas demanded only 5 villages. That was also refused. Then, 9th verse. Yada cha partha prahita sabhayam Jagad Gurur Yani Jagad Krishnaha Natani Pumsam Amritaya Yani Ajo Rumene Shatapunya Leshaha.
Lord Krishna was sent by Arjuna into the assembly as the spiritual master of the whole world. And although his words were heard by some, like Bhishma, as pure nectar, it was not so for others, who were completely bereft of the last parting of past pious words. The king, Dhritarashtra or Duryodhana, did not take the words of Lord Krishna very seriously.
Yes. So Yadacha Parth Prahitha Sabhayam. So when So Parth here is Yudhishthir, not Krishna. Parth Prahita. Parth is the son of Pritha. That is Yudhishthir also is Parth. So Parth Prahita, when the messenger was sent by Yudhishthir Maharaj, and who was the messenger? Krishna himself, Jagat Guru. So Lord himself came, Jagat Guru Yani Jagada Krishna. Natani Pumsam, but still he didn't give respect to the words of even Krishna. Na Urmene, he didn't respect him. Although it was pure nectar, various other people heard him, like Bhishma. But Dhritarashtra, he didn't take the words seriously because Shat Punya Leshaha. Prabhupada writes, unless one has Punya, Shat Punya Lesha, he had no Punya. So he could not understand. So to understand Krishna consciousness requires punya. What is this punya? Not the ordinary punya. Morning also I said three things, three types of sukriti. Bhaktionmukhi, Bhogonmukhi, and Mokshonmukhi. So Bhaktionmukhi sukriti should be there. Then only this knowledge will sink inside. Otherwise, no, very few people come because they don't have punya lesha. They don't have this punya of bhakti. So therefore, they don't understand Krishna. So whatever devotional service a devotee has done in the last life, that gives him credits. Or agyat sukriti means, somebody, he glorified someone or he took some prasad or helped some devotee, agyat. So anything he has done in the past life, that generates sukriti. So Prabhupada writes that Krishna is the supreme spiritual master of universe, Jagat Guru, and he himself came, but still he didn't accept. Why? Prabhupada writes, he reached the assembly and spoke about peace. The message was relished by Bhishma and other great leaders. But due to exhaustion of the pious results of their past deeds, Duryodhan or his father did not take the words seriously. That is the way of persons who have no credit of pious deeds. So pious deed is very important. So Prabhupada continues. By past pious deeds, one may become the king, but because of the results of pious acts of Duryodhan and company were dwindling, it became evident that from their actions, that they were sure to lose the kingdom. So they became king for some time, but for sure, they'll be losing in some time. So that's how piety is a very dynamic concept. It has to be constantly accrued and acquired. So this piety of devotional service, Bhakti Unmukha Sukriti, it is not that today I chanted very nicely, so now every day I'll chant nicely. It is a everyday endeavor. So we have to everyday work to get this Sukriti, this Punya, Bhakti Punya. It is said that by our endeavor we can reach till the stage of Namabhas. Every day we can reach till the stage of Namabhas. But it is not that aaj pahunch gaye Namabhas, so every day will be Namabhas chanting only. No. So it is an everyday endeavor. You have to be consciously alert to keep on chanting attentively so that we don't do Nam Aparadh. So Prabhupada writes, the message of Godhead is always like nectar to devotees, but it is just opposite to non-devotees. Example of sugar candy to a person who is jaundiced. Sathamayam Sara Bhritam Nisargo. The devotees, they are seekers of essence. For them, Krishna Katha is nectar. Okay, next verse. Yadaopahuto bhavanam pravishto mantraya prishta kila purvajena athaha tanmantra drisham variyan yanmantrino vaidurikam vadanti.
When Vidura was with the brother Dhritarashtra for consultation, he entered the house and gave instructions which were exactly to the point. This advice is well known, and instructions by Vidura are approved by expert ministers of state.
Yad mantrino vaidurikam vadanti. So Vidura Niti is very, very famous also. So Prabhupada writes, Chanakya Niti in modern times is considered the authority. Similarly, Vidur Niti was considered authority. So that's how powerful he was. There are various types of Niti. There is called as Kanika Niti. Then there is a Kanika Niti and Shukra Niti and Brihaspati Niti. So Kanika Niti means, Brihaspati Niti means right thing in a right way. I want to do a right thing and I'll use right means to do it. And Shukra Niti means I want to do some right thing, but any means is okay. And Kanika Niti means wrong thing and wrong means. I want to do sinful activity and I'll do anything for that. So many times Krishna used this Shukra Niti also. For the right thing, he used some wrong means. So that's how we have to understand where to use when. We cannot always use the wrong means. Otherwise, if we are not sure, we'll get implicated. So Chakravarti Thakur writes, because Vidura gave advice, Vidura gave wise advice, even today, good advice is called as words of Vidura. आज भी कोई अच्छा बोलता है तो these are the words of Vidura. Vaidurikam vadanti. So that's why he's called as Mantri. Prabhupada writes, political suggestions by Vidura are known as expert. So Mantri means Mantri gives mantra. That is why he's called as Mantri. So he knows how to solve a problem by giving a mantra. And this mantra should be accepted with heart. And because Dhritarashtra was not ready to accept the words of Vidura, therefore he suffered. So just good advice is not sufficient. That good advice should also be taken in good attitude of open-mindedness. If we are not open-minded, then the good advice will not help us. That's what happened with Dhritarashtra, the classic example. So many good advices were given to him, still he didn't accept it. Ajatashatro pratiyachadayam
Ajatashatru pratiyachchadayam
titikshato durvisaham tavagaha
titikshato durvisham tavagam
sahanujo yatra vrikodarahi
sahanujo yatra vikodarahi
pashan rushayat twamalam vibheshi.
shvasan rishayat
Vidura said, "You must now return the legitimate state to Yudhishthira, who has no enemies and who has been forbearing through untold sufferings due to your offenses. He is waiting with his younger brothers, among whom he is the revengeful Bhima, breathing heavily like snake. Surely you are afraid of him."
So he's saying that Vidur gave so many advices. So what are the advices given by Vidurji? That's what he's saying now. Various ways he's trying to convince Dhritarashtra that they have Bhima with them. And he's hissing like a snake. He has already taken a vow that he'll kill all your 100 sons. So you should give him the kingdom back. And Yudhishthira is Ajatashatru. He is patiently tolerating all your atrocities. So therefore, please return the kingdom. And on top of that, you know who is on their side? They have Krishna on their side. Partham Studevo Bhagavan Mukundo
Patham sudeva bhagavan mukundo
Grihitavan Sakshiti Deva Devaha
grihitavan shitideva devaha
Haste Swapuriyam Yadudeva Devo
aste sapurya yadudeva devo
Vinerjita Sheshan Deva Devaha.
vinirjita shesha deva.
Lord Krishna, the personality of Godhead, has accepted the sons of Pritha as his kinsmen, and all the kings of the world are with Lord Sri Krishna. He is present in his home with all his family members, the kings and princes of the Yadu dynasty, who have conquered an unlimited number of rulers, and he is their Lord. Hare Krishna.
So very systematically, Vidurji is giving so many reasons why you should return the kingdom. So first of all, they have Krishna on their side. Parthams tu Devo Bhagavan Mukunda, son of Pritha. They have Krishna on their side. And do you know who is Krishna? First of all, he is Parthams. He is intimately connected to Pandavas. And who is he? He is Deva. He is the Supreme Lord, Bhagavan. And second, Sakshiti Deva Deva. They have Brahmanas and Devatas on their side. On his side. Wherever Krishna is there, Brahmanas are there and Devatas are there. And on top of that, He is Yadu Deva Devo. He is best of the Yadus, and you know the power of Yadus. They are very powerful, and he is the best of Yadus. And these Yadus, they have defeated so many kings. Vinirjita, Ashesh, unlimited kings they have defeated. And we have heard what all, demons he has personally killed. And they have defeated Kamsa. He has defeated Kansa, Jarasan, and even Devatas like Brahma, Indra, Varuna, Shiva, they are all defeated by Krishna. So Chakravarti Thakur writes all that. So therefore, if you desire your own good, please return the kingdom. It looks very logical. But when somebody is blinded by illusion, nothing enters in the heart. He is a typical example of a person who is madandha and moha andha. अंधा हो गया है, कुछ भी नहीं जा रहा है अंदर. So many people are giving so many wonderful advices, but still nothing is going in. That is called as hope against hope. नहीं, कुछ तो हो जाएगा. That's why in the beginning Bhagavad Gita, why is asking Mamakaha Pandavaschaiva Kimakurvat. Chakravarti Thakur writes that after the lecture is over and people are taking plate and they are sitting with the prasad, and if somebody is asking, what did they do? ये कुछ पूछने वाले हैं. प्लेट लेके बैठेंगे तो क्या करेंगे? खाएंगे. So why is asking what did they do? Because he is still hopeful कि हो सकता है धर्म क्षेत्र इस कुरुक्षेत्र, my sons, so sons of Pandu may change, उनको ऐसा वैराग्य आ जाए. And he is fearful मेरे सन ना बदल जाए, मेरे पुत्रों को वैराग्य ना आ जाए. So that's how he is, so stubborn. So Prabhupada writes about all that. And then he says, hearing all this, Dhritarashtra may say, my son will oppose all these people. My son will oppose Krishna. He is very powerful. Then Vidurji tells, do you know who is your son? He is fault personified. He is sin personified. Very classic verse he is saying. And he says, he is the result of your 10 million lives of sins. जितना तुमने 10 करोड़ जन्म में पाप किया, सबका फल है तुम्हारा बेटा. सएष दोषा पुरुषस्द्विडास्ते गृहान् प्रविष्टोऽयमपत्यमत्यः पुष्णासि कृष्णाद् विमुखागतश्री त्यजत्यशैवं कुलकौशलाय.
Maintaining the offense personified Duryodhana as your infallible son, but he is envious of Lord Krishna, and because you are thus maintaining a non-devotee of Krishna, you are devoid of all auspicious qualities. Relieve yourself of this ill fortune as soon as possible and do good to the whole home.
Yes. So very logically saying, he is Saesha Dosha Purusha. He is a sin personified. And Purushas Dvit, Supreme Lord Krishna, he is envious of that person. He is envious of Krishna, your son. And therefore, Grihan Pravishto, and this sin has entered your house. Apatya Matya, and you are thinking that he is my son. He is not your son. He is your sin personified. आपका बेटा नहीं है, आपका पाप है वो. Apatya Matya, you are thinking that he is your auspicious son, but he will bring all inauspiciousness for your family. Because Pushnasi Krishna, you are maintaining a person who is Vimukha, who is a non-devotee. Gatashri, and therefore you are devoid of auspicious qualities. Anybody who maintains a person who is envious of Krishna, how can there be fortune in that home? In Chanakya says there are 4 enemies in the house. Anyone knows that? Prabhupada quotes this many times. There are 4 enemies in the house.
Typical wife and
One is your son, your wife.
not listening.
And who is the son? What type of son is sinful?
He's not ready to take.
No. Intelligent son. He says, ऋण कर्ता पिता शत्रु माता च व्यभिचारिणी रूपवती भार्या शत्रु पुत्र शत्रु अपंडितः. Chanakya says. So if the father is a debtor, then he is an, वो तो चला जाएगा, उसके ऊपर आपका आएगा, आपके ऊपर. You have to pay the debt. One time a person went to a hotel and hotel पे लिखा था, you eat and your grandson will pay. अच्छा है. So he ordered everything, whatever he wanted, and then after eating, he washed his hand, he was going. So the waiter came and said, bill. Bill क्या आपने बोला है ना, you pay, you eat and your grandson will pay. बोले सर ये आपके दादाजी का बिल है. So a person is a debtor, then his son, he is an enemy. And if the mother is Vyabhicharini, she has other paramour, she is an enemy. And Rupavati Bhare, if the wife is very beautiful, then the person will be just attached to her, he will not think of self-realization only. And Putra Shatru Apandita, if he is unintelligent, he will waste all the money, squander away. So therefore he is saying, you are thinking he is our auspicious son, but he is not auspicious, because he is envious of Krishna. And Chakravarti Thakur writes that he has entered externally your house and internally your mind and intelligence. And moreover, you are encouraging him and you think that he is my son, but he is not your son. He is sin personified. So Prabhupada writes, a good son is called apatya. So in other place, Prabhupada writes, what is it? Putra and Mutra, they come from the same place. So Putra means Pun Naraka Trayate iti Putra. Pun Nama Naraka Trayate. Because he does Shraddha, so then one gets liberated from a hell called as Pun. So if the son is himself a sinful personality, is envious of Krishna, how he'll offer Shraddha? So Prabhupada writes about that. After the death of his father, son goes to offer sacrifice at the feet of Vishnu at Gaya. But if son is already enemy of Vishnu, can he offer sacrifice to Lord? So Duryodhana was inimical to Vishnu. So therefore, how can he protect Dhritarashtra after his death? So he himself was to fall down. How can he protect his father? So therefore, he is telling, please just get rid of your son. And Prabhupada writes an amazing thing in the next paragraph. What is the use of a son who is neither learned man nor a devotee? If son is not a devotee, he is just like blind eye, a source of trouble. A physician may advise sometimes the extrication of such useless eye, so that the person can be relieved of constant trouble. If the eye is just giving pain, so better to remove it. So Duryodhana was exactly blind. And then, so Chakravarti Thakur writes in between line commentary, says, you can guess if you reject Krishna, then prosperity will also go away. Please understand that Lakshmi has already left your house. So what is the solution? It says, Tyajati ashaivam. Last line says, Tajat ashaivam. Relieve yourself of this ill fortune. Chhod do usko, tyag do. Give up inauspiciousness. This inauspicious Duryodhana, give him up. Chhod do. Dhritarashtra may say, well, if I reject my son, there will be a black spot for my family. I rejected my son. He says, no, for Kul Kaushal only you should reject him. For your benefit. It is said that there is another Chanakya Niti, he says, Tyajatyekam kulasyarthe gramasyarthe kulam tyajet gramam janapadasyarthe atmartham prithvim tyajet. He says, for one person, for one family, one person can be sacrificed. For one village, one family can be sacrificed. For one country, one village can be sacrificed. And for the purpose of self-realization, this entire world can be sacrificed. One can give up the world. Atmartham prithvim tyajit. So that's how he's saying, just give up your son for the benefit of your family. एक family के लिए एक बच्चे को त्याग दो. So this is not just about son. It is about a person in the leadership position. They should know that I should not be attached to my personal ambitions, my ways of working, my opinions, my people. ये मेरे लोग हैं, कितना ख्याल करते हैं मेरा. But that person is giving trouble to the entire society. So better if they are becoming obstacle for the society, then they should be given up. So that's how this is a story of stubbornness, born out of attachment and false ego. Mera beta hai. How can I give him up? So that's how stubborn he is. So as devotees, we should be flexible with our ideas. That's how that creates a harmony. Because in management, if we are really stubborn, जो मैं बोलता हूँ, accept होना ही चाहिए, then it will not be a good situation. So therefore, we have to just accept if somebody is giving a better suggestion. So then Vidurji continues. And while Vidurji was speaking all this to Dhritarashtra, Duryodhan was right there. Can you imagine? तो सामने बोल रहे इसको छोड़ दो, इसको त्याग दो.
He knows that he doesn't want it.
I don't know, but it is there. Next verse says this. Ityuchivamstatra suyodhanena
Yuchivamstatra suyotanena
Vriddakopasphuritadharena
Vriddakopasphuritadharena
Asatkrita satsprihaniya shilaha
Asatkrita satspruhani
Shatta sakarna nujasaubalena. Maybe, somebody must have told him. मतलब इतने तो उनके सामने तो नहीं बोले होंगे, but just that he heard everything. For sure he heard. So somebody can read the translation.
While speaking thus, Vidura, whose personal character was esteemed by respectable persons, was insulted by Duryodhana, who was swollen with anger and whose lips were trembling. Duryodhana was in company with Karna, his younger brothers, and his maternal uncle Sakuni.
So very wonderful, gentle words Sukadeva Goswami is using for Duryodhan. Suyodhan, So he's giving a benefit of doubt. Bichara noble tha, but bichara, bad association with bigad gaya. He was good. Suyodhan. Actually, his name was Suyodhan, right? Suyodhan se fir wo Duryodhan ban gaya. Dussashan ka naam Susashan tha. But because of his bad activities, he was named as Dushashan. That's how, bad association corrupts a person. So Prabhupada writes, it is said that giving a good counsel to a foolish person causes the fool to become angry. Upadesho hi murkhanam prakopaya na shantaye. Another Chanakya Niti. If you give instruction to a fool, he will become all the more angry. Na shantaye, shant nahi hoga. That's what happened to Duryodhan when he heard. So although Vidurji was so honorable, Satasprihaniya Shilaha, the word used, Satasprihaniya, he was respectable and he had all wonderful qualities, but still, Duryodhan, when he heard, Sakarna Anuja Saubalena, because Duryodhan was in association of Shaubala, that means Shakuni, and Karna. So therefore, he started becoming angry. His lips were trembling in anger. I say, experience like lips tremble. So many times devotees, Prabhupada disciples would tell that when Prabhupada was really angry, his lips would really tremble. So pure devotees also show emotions, but that is for serving Krishna. Pure devotee is not मतलब ऐसा typical जो लोगों का क्या perception है साधु मतलब ऐसा एकदम grave, no expressions. So in one of the Pandal programs, one person got up and he started speaking all Mayavad. Prabhupada was so angry and he was shouting and his lips were really trembling and other people are getting bewildered. कि कैसे साधु हैं इतना गुस्सा कर रहे हैं ऐसा कोई होता है क्या? So that's why Prabhupada was not that type of stereotype sadhu ki ekdam sober, shant, koi expression. He would show all the expressions if it is needed to serve Krishna. You know, one time Prabhupada was giving a talk. Pandal program chal raha hai, pura 5-10,000 people are there. And then after class is over, Prabhupada told his disciples, you do kirtan. So some of the Matajis were also there. They came on the stage. They were also doing kirtan dancing. And there were some people, they were not so good. So they, came near the stage and they wanted to touch. These ladies were dancing, so they were touching the feet. They were just trying to trouble them. So Prabhupada, he is doing kirtan with his kartal, eyes are closed, and he opens his eyes and sees all that. And yeah, he just, ऐसा kartal को ऐसा निकाला. He threw that kartal. Or एक को लगा, and then everybody thought, oh my God, he's a different type of sadhu. They all ran away. And Prabhupada then continued his kirtan, So that's how Prabhupada was. He was not a stereotype sadhu ki theek hai, no expressions. Prabhupada would show all the expressions in service of Krishna. So that's how. So Duryodhana was so foolish that he dared to insult Vidura. And then Duryodhana, he is speaking such nasty words, such insult. Ka ena matro pachuhava jihmam. Yad balineva pushtaha. Asmin pratipa parakritya aste. Asyatāmashu purā svashāna.
Ask him to come here, this son of a kept mistress. He is so crooked that he spies in the interest of the enemy against those on whose support he has grown up. Toss him out of the palace immediately and leave him with
Saying, Kaena matro pajuho, who asked him to come here? So, the famous picture you must have seen, BVT ka painting, hai na? I'll just show you, I have here. So I'll put down the laptop and then. Okay, anyways. So he says, Kaena matro pajbhava, who has told this son of kept mistress to come here? Dasya sutam. He's a son of a dasi. And he is staying on our remnants. And he is becoming powerful. Yad balineva pushtaha. And tasmin pratipa pratikaryaste. And he is eating from our plate and he is speaking bad against us. How is this possible? So what you should do? Nirvasyatam. Just throw him out of the palace. And what is the retirement benefit? Just leave him with his breath. Don't kill him. That is the result of lifetime of service. So that is how he is so very strong. Chakravarti Thakur writes that whoever is on my side should remove him from this palace. Duryodhana is telling. Do it quickly, do not delay, only his breath should remain. That means beat him with canes till he is breathless. That's what Chakravarti Thakur says. Another version says, Swashana. Swashana, the last word is Swashana. So another version is Smashana. He says, Vidura is inauspicious like a place where bodies are burnt. Duryodhana is telling about Vidura. He is so inauspicious. So remove him from this house. That person who creates inauspicious for me, do it quickly. Otherwise, he'll make the whole kingdom inauspicious. That is how a proud person is, So, a pride and stubbornness and ego can make a fool out of a person. He is thinking he is inauspicious. That's how he's so very fooled by his anarthas. So Prabhupada writes that Vidura, he was a Dasi Putra, and Prabhupada writes this little bit of story about that. And he says that Dhritarashtra was actually affectionate, and he loved his younger brother. And Duryodhana also knew very well that Vidura is a great soul and a well-wisher. But unfortunately, he used strong words to hurt his uncle. Duryodhana not only attacked Vidura's birth, but also called him infidel, because he seemed to support the cause of Yudhishthira. And then Prabhupada, after a few lines, writes, if possible, he would have liked him caned until he was left with nothing but his breath. He charged that Vidura was a spy of the Pandavas because he advised King Dhritarashtra in their favor. So this is intolerable for any person. When somebody hears insults, even it comes in the third canto when Varahadev appeared, Hiranyaksha was also speaking all bad words. He is one gocharo mriga. And there also it is mentioned, Varahadev was hurt. He was pained by the words of Hiranyaksha. So it is not that, a pure devotee never gets affected, he doesn't feel pain. Even Supreme Lord feels pain. But the response is different for a devotee and a non-devotee. And the ideal response of a devotee is given in the 16th verse. How Vidurji responded with such insult. How he dealt with it. Because these words, it is said that they were like arrows, hot burning arrows entering the ears of Vidurji. Saitam Matyul Bankarna Banair. Sorry. Swayam Dhanurdwar Nidhaya Mayam. Gato Puramar Masutadi Topi. Saitam Matyul Bankarna Banair. Rumanayanaha.
Thus being pierced by arrows through his ears and afflicted to the core of his heart, Vidura placed his bow on the door and quit his brother's palace. He was not sorry, for he considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme.
So yes. So these words, Atti Ulban Karna Banair, they were like hot burning arrows. Bhratu Pura Marmasu Taditopi, and they afflicted the core of Vidura's heart. So what he did? Swayam Dhanurdware Nidhaya Mayam. He kept his bow. He was also a warrior. He would also go and fight. He was a warrior. So he kept his bow. Nidhaya Mayam, Nidhaya, and then he left. Nidhaya Mayam. He kept the bow and he left, understanding that Uru Manai Gatavyathoya. This is very important. He was not sorry. Because Uru Manayana. He understood that this is the action of the external energy of the Supreme Lord. In other place, I think we discussed that when things are out of our control, we should not be sorry. We discussed, I think some other class, I was discussing Bhagavatam. Somewhere else it comes. So in the fourth canto, we were discussing at some other place. So Prithu Maharaj's episode, mein Prabhupada writes a line that when things are out of our hand, one should not be sorry about it. There is a wonderful prayer. They call it serenity prayer. It says that, "Oh my Lord, please give me the serenity to accept the things which I can't change, courage to change the things which I can, and the wisdom to understand the difference between the two.
Oh,
So many times we try to change things which will never change. That gives frustration in life. And we also need courage to change things which are in our hand. And most important thing, ये दोनों में है अंतर, कौन सा change कर सकते हैं नहीं कर सकते, उसके लिए wisdom लगता है. So that is how. So Vidurji understood this is the thing which is ordained by the Lord. I can't do anything about it. He accepted it. He was not so sorry about it. Gata vyathaha urumanayanaha, because he understood that Mahamaya is working on Duryodhan and Yogamaya is working on me. Because that's why I came here. मेरे को छुट्टी नहीं मिल रहा था. I wanted to go for यात्रा and मेरे को जॉब से छुट्टी नहीं था. Because overtime चल रहा था उधर यमराज जी का. So that's why he thought maybe चलो मांडव्य मुनि ने कर्ज दिया है, so I'll go and do all the pilgrim धाम यात्रा करके. So he said, oh, my desires are getting fulfilled. So Chakravarti Thakur writes that when sharp words entered his ears like arrows, hitting sensitive spots, marmasu, marma बोलते हैं, marma therapy कुछ लोग देते हैं, marma, sensitive points. Since he did not defend himself by saying, how can you speak like this to your brother? So कैसे बोल सकते? He didn't speak anything. चुपचाप रख के धनुष निकल गए वो. So very difficult. And then actually Vidura, he dispelled his suffering by telling, you have blessed me, Duryodhan. So you have dispelled my suffering completely, because now you have driven me out of the palace. I'll go to all the pilgrimage places. मैं पूरा तीर्थ यात्रा करके आता हूँ. चलो. And what pain I'll have? I have given up attachment to people like you. उससे अच्छा और क्या होगा? So therefore he left out of his own will. He gave up everything, even his bow, because he was thinking, when I sit alone worshipping Krishna, what is the use of the bow? ये क्या करूँगा ये धनुष का? So therefore he kept the bow at the door. Or he said, let there be not fear from sinful Duryodhan that I'll fight on the side of Bhima. वो दुर्योधन को लगना नहीं यहाँ से निकाल दिया उसको, तो अभी गया उधर जाके युद्ध करेंगे तो no, he kept the bow. I'll not fight, don't worry about that. So that's how he considered the great power of Maya, thinking that Duryodhan is blinded by Maya, does not see Krishna. He's standing in front of him. So that's how Maya acts differently for devotees and non-devotees. For Vidurji, Yogamaya is acting. For Duryodhan, Mahamaya is acting. Chakravarti Thakur continues. Or other meaning is, how great is the Maya of Krishna, because driving out the devotee of the Lord in this way, these people will be killed by Bhima. Because they have offended great people, they will be destroyed. Ayu, Shriyo, Yasho, Dharma, Lokan, Ashisha, Evacha, Hanti, Shreyamsi, Sarvani, Pumso, Mahadatikramaha. Anybody who offends great souls, their life goes down. Their wealth, their fame, their religiousness, piety, everything gets destroyed. So therefore, Bhagavatam is all about, there are different types of responses we can give. One is the emotional response. Oh, मेरे साथ ऐसा क्यों हो गया, and keep crying. One is a political response. देख लूंगा उसको, I'll also take revenge. Other is devotional response. This is the workings of the Lord. This is how Lord is orchestrating my life. So Bhagavatam is all about devotional responses. That is what Bhagavatam is teaching. Don't give political response or emotional response. Devotional response. Pain will be there. But how we respond, that's how Narad Muni, as a small boy, how he responded when his mother died. बेचारा एक ही बच्चा 5 साल का और उसकी माँ, और वो and वो जाती है जंगल में, and she is bitten by a snake. एकदा दुहंतिम निर्गताम सती. She is bitten. So what he says? नारद मुनि, mercy of the Lord, कृपा हो गई भगवान की. क्या कृपा को ऐसा कैसे बोल सकते हैं? तदा तदहम ईशस्य भक्तानां शम अभिप्सिता Anugraha manyamana pratishtham dishamuttara. Anugraha ho gaya hai. So that is the devotional response. So Prabhupada writes a very wonderful purport here. A pure devotee is never perturbed by any awkward position. He understands that whatever is happening, it is done by the modes of nature.
Anything which adversities or anything happens, you have to accept them.
No. Bola na bhi. Change the things which I can, accept the things which I can't change. You know. So that requires intelligence. Because हम लोग बहुत बार उल्टा करते हैं, इसलिए फ्रस्ट्रेशन आ जाता है. जो करना है उसको नहीं करते हैं, जो चेंज नहीं होगा उसको ही चेंज करने में अपना जीवन लगा देते हैं. That's why people suffer. That's why they get frustrated. क्या चल रहा है? Accept things. It's like a person with a chronic disease. सब कुछ ट्राई कर लिया, हजारों डॉक्टर को दिखा दिया, फिर भी ठीक नहीं हो रहा है. तो बोले नहीं, कोई तो डॉक्टर मिलेगा जो ठीक करेगा. He'll be frustrated always. Okay, I'll accept it. ये मेरा destiny है. Prabhupada writes on Nectar of Devotion में लिखते हैं ना. He writes 3 things: chronic diseases, legal cases, and one more thing he says. These are the effect of previous life's sinful activities. Legal cases, chronic diseases, and last I'm not remembering.
Someone who's born in a very poor family and someone who's born not nice looking at all.
Okay, thank you. So that's yes. Somebody is ugly, born ugly in a low family, poor family. Past life का karma है, just accept it. नहीं ऐसा कैसे हो सकता? I'll try to change, and he'll suffer. He'll get frustrated, miserable, depressed always. Cribbing and blaming God and blaming the situations. So we have to try our best. That is a law of nature. We have to protect ourselves. One should not say, maro, jo karna hai kar lo. No. We have to protect. That is the duty of everyone, to protect himself. But trying everything, still nothing is happening. Accept it. So Prabhupada writes, absorbed in false ego, he thinks that he is doing everything by himself. That is the conditioned soul. Conditioned soul is fully under the control of the law of God. But due to illusion only, he thinks himself independent. Ahankar vimudhatma karta aham. So Vidurji could understand all that. So therefore, he accepted the words of Duryodhan, and he understood that, okay, he is acting under Mahamaya. Prabhupada writes, a devotee is always in renounced temperament because the worldly attractions can never satisfy him. Vidur was never attracted to royal palace. He was always ready to leave the palace and devote completely to the Lord's service. Now he got the opportunity. So therefore, Gata Vyathaha. He was not sorry about that. That's how great people, they know how to convert the causes of the distress into opportunities. A great distress has come in the life of Vidur. He is thinking opportunity. So that is how a mature devotee is. That is a journey of a devotee. Giving right responses. So how I should respond in a way that I look the hand of the Lord in all situations. Jo bhi mere जीवन में हो रहा है. How Krishna is working. So this is how one should deal with heartbreaks. Vidura is really broken. But still, his heart he's pained, but he's not so much suffering because of that. So just imagine, he was a prime minister. And within moments he is now on the roads. Nothing is there. So all the things of the world will be destroyed. All our upadhi can be destroyed in a moment. So Vidurji, he was not attached to it. So therefore he didn't suffer. So many things can be spoken on this verse. Because the word used is Ati Ulban Karna Banair. Harsh word. It is said that word is greater than sword. The wound created by the sword can heal. The wound created by words, they don't heal so easily. So therefore, we have to learn how to speak in a nice way. So that's how this entire Mahabharata is about ego clashes of family members. So when, as a devotee also, when we work with devotees, serving with devotees, there'll be some opinion differences and some things will not happen the way we want. The more we are attached to our plans, the more we will suffer. Vidurji is not attached to his plan. Therefore, he could continue and find the next journey. Okay, now I have been thrown out of this. Now what to do in life? Abhi kya karna hai? So that's how. So now, Vidurji, he is, Chakravarti Thakur writes that he is highly elevated and pious, but yet, why he had to go to forest? He was so elevated, pure. सीधा जाके he could have gone to Dwarka and he would have stayed with Krishna. अभी पूरा तीर्थ यात्रा करने की क्या जरूरत है? The Supreme Lord himself is there on the surface of the earth. जाओ द्वारका में उनका दर्शन करो, उनकी सेवा करो. Why he went to pilgrimage? Because he is thinking that I have associated with Duryodhana and all these Kauravas for so many years, I have become contaminated. I'll go to pilgrimage place, I'll purify myself, and then with pure body and pure mind, I'll go and serve Krishna. So that's why he decided to travel to all the holy places. 17th verse.
Is there any reason why he didn't go to the Pandavas' camp? Because they are very dear. Throughout his life, he has protected them. He is the one who has supported them. Now, this was an opportunity to be with, although there could be a higher cost. So, he could have gone to Pandavas' side.
Yeah, but the purpose of the, Vidura's visit on this planet was to do devotional service, go to pilgrimage and serve Krishna. So that's how he is getting an opportunity to go to pilgrimage. And in the previous verse, he wanted to make sure. That's how great devotees are. He has troubled, Duryodhana has troubled him a lot. Still he is thinking, koi baat nahi, usko aisa lagna nahi chahiye ki I'll go and help Bhima and all the Pandavas. So at that moment also he is thinking of Duryodhana. Just like Shamik Rishi, Shringi, when he cursed Parikshit, why he didn't go and beg forgiveness from Shamik Rishi? He'll be more embarrassed. Already the message was given in such a embarrassing way that if he goes and asks forgiveness, Shamik Rishi will become more embarrassed. That's how great souls are. They never think about themselves. So that's how Haridas Thakur is praying to all Krishna to forgive all those people who are beating him. So that is one of the reasons. Next verse says, Sanirgatah Kaurava Punya Labdho Gaja Vaya Tirtha Pada Padani Anva Kramat Punya Chikirshayorvyam Adhishthito Yani Sahasramurtihi.
By his piety, Vidura achieved Kauravas. After leaving Hastinapura, he took shelter of many places of pilgrimages, which are the Lord's lotus feet. With the desire to gain a high order of pious life, he traveled to holy places where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated.
Nirgataha Kaurava Punya Labdhaha. So he wanted to achieve piety. So therefore he went to all the holy places. Gaja.
One
Yes.
question.
Yes.
Here piety is mentioned. What is the difference piety and the
Wherever Bhagavatam.
this thing? Devotional service.
So many times, we have to see the context. So the words may be same, but the piety means the devotional credits. So because Vidurji is just interested in achieving some devotional credits. By his piety, Vidura achieved the advantages of pious Kauravas. So the context is very important. Scriptures are not textual, they are always contextual. We have to see the context in which a word is used. So otherwise the words may be same, but the meaning may be different. So that's how pious, the word may be same, but the meaning is different sometimes, just like dharma. So whenever dharma word comes, so it can be used for, the regular dharma ka prachar karenge. It may not have devotion. It may be about, dharma, varnashram dharma and all that. But in Bhagavatam, because we are reading Bhagavatam, and in the beginning only, dharma projita kaitavatra parma. So wherever the word dharma comes, and so one can safely say it is devotional service. So in that dharmasya hi apavargasya, so in that Chakravarti Thakur writes that what is a dharma for a jnani, dharma for a karmi, dharma for a yogi, and dharma for a bhakta. Dharma for a bhakta is shravanam kirtanam. Dharma for a karmi is sacrifices. Dharma for a jnani is this jnana, tapasya, brahmacharya, all that. Dharma for a yogi is yam, niyam, asana, pranayam, all that. So that's how it is.
One more question. With the wisdom and knowledge.
Wisdom means how to apply the knowledge in a particular situation. So knowledge anybody can get. There is no dearth of knowledge. Information is overflowing in this world. सबके पास information है. सबके मोबाइल में सब database है, folio ready है. But how to apply that in our life, that comes by wisdom. And wisdom, that is called as Jnana and Vijnana.
Jnana is
knowledge. Theoretical knowledge is realized knowledge. So when that theoretical knowledge will become realized knowledge, how it will happen? By serving. Yat sevaya bhagavataha kutasthasya madhudvishaha ratiraso bhavet tivra padayor vyasanardhanha. In future chapters, one of the chapters, Vidura tells to Maitreya, I have heard so many things from you, but when will I serve you, then this knowledge will become realization. Yat sevaya bhagavataha, that seva to Bhagavata, then rati raso bhavet, then my attachment to Krishna will increase. Yes, Prabhuji, you have a question?
Prabhuji, this is, you are talking about both Naimittik and Nitya, both dharma you are talking about. Dharma when used is as Nitya dharma, which is or Naimittik dharma, because all other yogas, they are considered as Naimittik dharma, and only Bhakti yoga is considered as Nitya dharma. So you means that that whatever he is doing is both, na? Naimittik, Nitya, and dharma is used the word, we consider both, na? In that sense.
Yes, Prabhuji, it depends on the context where we are reading it, where it is coming. So somewhere it may be Naimittik dharma, somewhere it is Nitya dharma. So paro savai pumsam paro dharma. So their dharma is devotional service. Correct. So in the 7th canto, in the last chapter, Narad Muni describes in detail about Varnashram dharma. So there he tells about all that, Nitya dharma, Naimittik dharma, and Apat dharma. So all these things he describes in detail there. 7th canto, last chapter. So that is the principle of Varnashram dharma, ideal family life. The chapter is ideal family life. So that's
Thank you,
all. So Sat Nirgataha, after leaving Hastinapur, Kaurava Punya Labdho, by his piety, Vidura achieved the advantage of pious Kauravas. Gajahavayat, and therefore he went to Tirth Padah Padani, he went to the places, pilgrimage places, which are Lord's lotus feet. Tirth Padaha. Tirth Pada means a place becomes a place of pilgrimage when Lord puts his feet there. Anvakramat punya chikirshayorvyam. Anvakramat. And with a desire to gain a higher order of life, he traveled to all these holy places. He took shelter. Anvakramat. He took shelter of all these places. Why? Punya. Chikirsha. Chikirsha means to increase. To increase the, with a desire to increase the piety. And therefore, he went to all these places. So, Vidura was already pious. he got birth in a high family. So this punya is not any ordinary punya. This is the punya of bhakti he is acquiring by going to various places and praying to the Lord there. And he wants to increase his piety that is devotional piety. So Prabhupada writes about that. He was undoubtedly a great soul. And to have high birth, wealth, high learning, beauty, these are all due to past pious acts. But such pious positions are not sufficient for obtaining grace of the Lord. Vidura considered himself less pious and therefore he decided to travel to holy places in order to achieve piety. Of course, Krishna is not pleased by any of the external things. He is pleased by the heart full of devotion. That's what Prahlad Maharaj also tells. Manye dhana vijana rupa tapa shrutauja tejo prabhava bala paurusha buddhi yogaha naradhanaya hi bhavanti bharasya pumso bhaktya tutosha bhagavan gajayuta paye. Oh my Lord, you are not pleased by dhan, abhijan, rupa, tapa, shruta, oja, teja, prabhava, bal, पौरुष बुद्धि योग ये सब से कहाँ प्रसन्न होते हैं? Only तुतो भक्त्या तुतोष भगवान. Only devotion pleases Lord. That's how. But a devotee always feels that I am not a devotee. It comes in Chaitanya Charitamrita when there was a person, Jadu Thakur, and he was such a great devotee, but he was from a low caste. So there was another person, his name was, he would eat the mango peels, क्या नाम था उनका? He was famous for eating all the remnants of all the devotees of Navadip. Because he thought, यही मेरा survival का बस source है. Devotee का महा खाते रहो, हो जाएगा उद्धार. And he really meant it. It was not that, oh, gulab jamun wala maha dena, So, Bhakti Siddhanta Thakur would do that. Pehle, he saw that all the disciples, they are just selecting, ye mere ko ye wala sweet Mahaprasad Gurudev ka chahiye. So, Saraswati Thakur said, mix everything, khichdi banao, phir baanto. And nobody was taking much. So he once told Jadu Thakur that this person was from a Brahmana family. So he gave mangoes to Jadu Thakur and, and he left. But he was hiding and looking that he khake wo chilka dalenge, I'll eat that. And then, he was glorifying this personality, that Jadu Thakur, that you are such a great devotee. He said, what are you talking? I am such a fallen person. He said, no, you are a devotee of the Lord. And a devotee, even if he is born in a family of a low class person, he's still a great devotee. Aho batsho pacho ato garyan yat jihvagre varte. All these slokas he was quoting. So this person said, Jadu Thakur says, that is for devotee. I am not a devotee. So a devotee always feels that I am not a devotee. So therefore I have to purify myself by doing tapasya. Just like Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he was once asked, because every day he would get up at 2:30 in the morning, he would do his 16 rounds before Mangalarti, and then whole day he would do service and chant more, and he would do lots of fasting also. So somebody asked, Maharaj, why are you doing all this tapasya? Prabhupada said, you are from India. So Indian devotee was asking, you are from India. You are from a pious land. I have taken birth in Africa, such a sinful land. I am so very sinful. So to purify myself, I have to do little more tapasya. That's why I am doing it. That is how a devotee always feels. So therefore, Vidurji is thinking, I am born in a low caste family. I need to purify myself. Prabhupada writes, unless you are purified, you cannot practice bhakti with determination. Yesham tu antagatam papam jananam punya karmanam. And then Prabhupada says, fourth paragraph. These forms are, so when you go to holy place, you will see the various deities. These forms are called Archa Murti, or forms of the Lord, which can be easily appreciated by common man. The Lord is transcendental to our mundane senses. He cannot be seen with our eyes. Which verse says this? Which word says this? Lord cannot be seen by our eyes. नहीं तो है मतलब he can be seen by eyes filled up with devotion. Mundane eyes cannot see. He is adhokshaja, adha akshaja. He cannot be seen by our vision, mundane vision. He cannot be seen by our present eyes, nor can he be heard. To the degree we serve the Lord, we can perceive the Lord. To the extent we serve the Lord, to that extent we can see the Lord. Nectar of Devotion verse. Okay, I'm not remembering. Very famous verse. Anyways. So then Prabhupada writes that India is full of holy places. And Prabhupada writes a list of all the holy places. Mathura as Adi Keshava, Puri as Lord Jagannath, Allahabad as Bindu Madhav, Mandar Hill as Madhusudan, Anand Aranya as Vasudeva, Padmanabh and Janardhan, Vishnu Kanchi as Vishnu, Mayapur, Hari. There are millions and billions of such archa forms. Okay, so then he continues. Pureshu punya vana pureshu punyo pavanadri kunjeshu
Pureshu punya pavanadri
apankatoeshu tarit sahasu sarasu
kunjeshu sarit
anantalingay samalankrитeshu
anantalinge samalankrитeshu
chachara tirthayataneshu ananyaha.
Can you travel alone, thinking only of Krishna, to various holy places like Ayodhya, Dwarka, Mathura, and Mathura? He traveled where the air, hill, orchard, river, and lake are all pure and sinless, and where the forms of the unlimited decorate the temples. Thus he performed the pilgrim's progress.
So that's how he went to so many places. Prabhupada writes again about the potency of the deity worship, Archa Vigraha. So, but if we don't read about the Lord, but if we don't read Bhagavatam, then Prabhupada, he would tell his devotees in the beginning days, if you will not read Bhagavatam, hear the lectures, then you will think that why my spiritual master has given me this burden of deity worship. These Archa Vigraha will become Galagraha. They'll become a burden on your neck. So therefore we have to discuss Bhagavatam, hear Krishna Katha. Sudama Prabhu, he says a wonderful statement. If we are doing so much of kharcha on the archa and not doing Bhagavad Charcha, then it will be just waste. You will not understand. statement. So if we are just worshipping the Lord and not understanding whom am I worshipping, so then we will not worship the Lord with love and devotion. It will just become a burden. So Bhagavad Charcha should be very important, done regularly. So now what he was doing in his pilgrimage, what was the conduct of Vidura? That is described in the 19th verse. Gam paryatan medhya vivikta vrittihi sada plutodha shayana bhutaha alakshita swairavadhuta vesho pratani chere haritoshanani.
While so traversing the earth, he quickly performed duties to please the Supreme Lord Hari. His occupation was pure and independent. He was constantly sanctified by taking his bath in holy places. Although he was in the days of a mendicant and had no hair vesting, nor a bed on which to lie, so he was always unseen by his various relatives.
So Prabhupada writes, a pilgrim should not be worried about pleasing society. I'll go to pilgrimage and please the society. It is about going and pleasing Krishna. It is to satisfy the Lord. There is no need of social formalities or occupation or dress. One should remain absorbed in function of pleasing the Lord. That is the most important thing. So one should not go to pilgrimage just to make a statement that I am also spiritual. What Bhagavatam calls such people? Who go to holy places and take bath and don't hear Hari Katha. Saeva Gokharaha. They are like cows and asses because they don't understand the purpose of human form, purpose of going to holy places. And then he reached Prabhas Kshetra. In the 20th verse it is said, he visited Prabhas. That time Maharaj Yudhishthir was emperor and held the world under one military strength and one flag. That means when he reached Prabhas, battle was over. Maharaj Yudhishthir had become the king. So battle of Kurukshetra was over. And then he got to know in 21st verse. Translation, somebody can read?
At the place of pilgrimage at Prabhasha, it came to his knowledge that all his relatives had died due to violent passion. Just as an entire forest burns due to fire produced by the friction of bamboos. After this, he proceeded west, where the river Saraswati flows.
So Prabhupada focuses on this line that, just by the friction of the bamboos, the entire forest gets burnt. So nobody goes and sets fire in the forest. So similarly, in this great forest of worldly transaction, Prabhupada writes, in this great forest of worldly transaction, the fire of war takes place because of the violent passion of the conditioned souls. And then it flares up. So only thing which can extinguish this fire is the water of the clouds of mercy of the saints. What is that verse? Only this entire fire, world is burning. Samsara dava nagarita loka. So that's what Prabhupada is paraphrasing here. And then where all he went, 22nd verse describes, he went to 11 places, all on the banks of Saraswati. Translation, somebody can read?
On the banks of the river Saraswati, there were 11 places of pilgrimage, namely Trita, Ushana, Manu, Ritu, Agni, Ashita, Vayu, Sudata, To, Rupa, and Shattadeva. Vidura visited all of them and duly performed rituals.
So he visited to all the places, he took darshan of the deities, remembered the Lord there, and he heard about the Lord. In 23rd verse, it is said, Kritani nana yatanani Vishnu. So wherever Lord has performed his pastimes, he went, he took darshan of them. Yad darshanad Krishna manusmaranti. He remembered the Lord there. So Prabhupada writes, that is the purpose of building very high temples. People are attracted by structures. We can see live example, here. And most of them, they just come to take pictures. I went to Patna mein, there was a huge temple built. And ISKCON temple. It's a 5-star temple है इसका like just like this गिरधारी के जैसे ही बनाया उन्होंने उनका ये तो फर्स्ट फ्लोर पे उनका सेकंड फ्लोर पे टेंपल है बीच में एक और हॉल है जस्ट लाइक डाउन एक आपका हॉल है बालाजी हॉल है उनका एक अंडरग्राउंड है फिर उसके ऊपर एक हॉल है उसके बाद एक्चुअली 2 फ्लोर नहीं एक बीच में एक और है उसके बाद टेरेस भी एक लॉफ्ट है उसके बाद एक मंदिर का फ्लोर है such a huge magnificent marble structure they have made
100 crore
100 crore 100 नहीं 200 or 300 crore 100 crore yes newspaper 100 crore आया था so I had to go for with my parent for something so just opened last year I think and Sunday 25,000 people they come her Saturday Sunday is packed and every day it is like 10,000 to normal hai. and everyone is coming and having selfies.
That's not.
फोटो निकाल रहे हैं. Nobody is devotee नहीं है वहाँ पे. They have not started preaching yet much.
अपने को अक्षम पा रहे हैं कि हम पब्लिक को कॉल ये नहीं कर पा रहे.
People are attracted by structures. So that's how Prabhupada also made huge temples to attract people. You know, one reporter asked, Swamiji, why are you making big temples? He was doing a press conference in Australia. Why are you doing conference in this big hotel? Prabhupada said, I can do a conference under a tree. Will you come? Because I am doing a conference in this 5-star hotel, you are coming and you are taking interview. So we can live under a tree also. But who will come to here? So therefore, these structures are needed to attract people of Kali Yuga. That's the beginning. That's why Mahaprabhu also gave instruction to Sanatana Goswami, Tumi kariha bhakti shastrera prachar, Mathuraya lukta tirthera kariha udhar, Vrindavane Krishna seva Vaishnava achar, Bhakti smriti shastra kariha prachar. 4 instructions Mahaprabhu gave. Build temples. क्या जरूरत है? Temple बनाने का क्या जरूरत है? To attract people of Kali Yuga. That's my Prabhupada writes. The purpose of building high temples is to give a chance of people. Prabhupada writes in the middle of the purport. To give a chance, to give people a chance to see them from a distant place. This system is carried on in India. Whenever a new temple is constructed, it appears that it is coming down from a time before recorded history. कुछ बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर बनता है तो वाओ कुछ तो होगा इसमें इतना बड़ा स्ट्रक्चर बना है. And just today morning and मतलब somebody was telling me प्रभु जी संडे को तो मेरा रोड टेम्पल में खड़े रहने का जगह नहीं है शाम को. इतने सारे लोग टेम्पल वाले फुल एंड कोई ऐसा फेस्टिवल नहीं रेगुलर संडे. So people get attracted. So much preaching opportunity. मतलब बैठे बैठे टेम्पल में ही प्रीचिंग कर सकते हैं कहीं जाने की जरूरत नहीं है. Just enroll people for courses and they'll start coming and becoming devotee. So at least that much sukriti people have. Punya. Prabhupada says it is dead elephant. Dead elephant का भी value है. Okay, tusks is there. So people have some, respect, some, desire to worship, although they are doing for their sense gratification, but still. So therefore Prabhupada writes about that. Okay, so then he continues. One person went to Prabhupada and said, Swamiji, why are you making big temples? There are so many temples desolate. You just adopt one of them. So this person had come with his wife and children. So Prabhupada asked, this is your son? He said, yes, Swamiji. Why you want your own son? So many children are orphan. Kisi ko adopt kar lo. So he said, Swamiji, I want my son. Prabhupada said, similarly, I want my temples so that I can make rules and laws and I can teach them. Okay, so then he continues. Translation, 24th verse.
Thereafter, he passed through very wealthy provinces like Surat, Sivida, and Matsya, and through western India, known as Turujangala. At last, he reached the bank of the Yamuna, where he happened to meet Uddhava, the great devotee of Lord Krishna.
Tatrodhavam Bhagavatam Dadarsha, last line says. There he met the great devotee of Krishna, Uddhava. So Prabhupada writes, still there are many devotees of the Lord lingering there in ecstasy of Krishna and his childhood associates, the gopis. It is not that, very important line Prabhupada writes. It is not that such devotees meet Krishna face to face in that tract of land, but a devotee eagerly searching after Krishna is as good as his seeing him personally. How this is so cannot be explained. Yes, explain nahi kar sakte, but it can be realized by those who are pure devotees of the Lord. So pure devotees can understand and realize this. It's like gopis, it comes in Bhagavatam. The gopis, they are talking and they are telling that, oh my friends, still there are so many people roaming around like beggars in Vrindavan. They have given up their wretched families and they have themselves become wretched and moving around, begging and looking after Krishna, searching for Krishna. They are all mad for Krishna. Yadanucharital. And how it happens? Because they have heard about Krishna. जो भी सुनता है भगवान के बारे में, he becomes wretched and he gives up his wretched family. यदनुचरित लीला कर्ण पीयूष विप्रुट सकृत अदन विधूता द्वंद्व धर्मा विनष्टा सपदि गृह कुटुंबम दीनमुत्सृज्य दीना बहव इह विहंगा भिक्षुचर्याम चरन्ति. Now also if you go to inner parts of Braja, you will find many people just moving around like beggars. And if you ask them, कोई सीए रहेगा, कोई बैंक का हेड रहेगा, सब छोड़ छाड़ के इधर ऐसा भिखारियों की तरह घूम रहे हैं. They have heard about Krishna. Anucharita Leela, anybody who hears about Krishna, Karna Piyusha, Sakrit Adan Vidhuta, Dvandva Dharma Vinashta. They give up all the dualities of this world. They give up their Griha and Kutumba and they themselves become wretched. Bhikhari ban jate hain. There are many moving around like this in Vrindavan. So Prabhupada writes that you will see many people moving around. It is not that they have seen Krishna, but they are experiencing Krishna because they have eyes of love, anointed with love. And then he is describing the wonderful nature of Uddhava. Who is Uddhava? Savasudevanucharam prashantam Brihaspate Prakatanayam Pratitam Alingyagaham Pranayena Bhatram Smanam Aprichat Bhagavat Prajanam.
Due to his great love and feeling, Uddhava interested Uddhava, who was constant companion of Lord Krishna and formerly a great student of Krishna. Uddhava then asked him for news of the family of Lord Krishna, the personality of God.
So anybody has a charger or not regular charger? Yeah, speaker band ho gaya. So I didn't get the wire while just connected. Regular. मैं wire लाना भूल गया. Otherwise I'll not be able to hear the other online people. You have Roji with you here?
No, I have that.
हाँ.
Okay, no problem. Roji will get. So Vasudeva Anuchara. He is okay. मिल गया Roji. Very good.
आता नहीं आता possible.
Yes, it will work. Thank you. So Vasudeva Anuchara, he was the constant companion of Lord Krishna. Prashanta, very sober and gentle. Brihaspateh Prakatanaya, he is the formerly student of Brihaspati. Alim. And when saw, he embraced him with great love. Swanam Prichat Bhagavat Prajanam. And then he asked him about family of Lord Krishna. So Uddhav is such a wonderful soul, wonderful, great personality. It is said, Shukdeva Goswami says that Vrishninam Pravaro Mantri Krishnasya Daita Sakha Shishyo Brihaspate Sakshat Uddhavo Buddhi Sattama. He is the best of the ministers among Vrishni. Vrishninam Pravara Mantri. And Krishnasya Daita Sakha is the best friend of Krishna. And Shishya Brihaspati, he is a Shishya of Brihaspati Sakshat. And therefore Uddhava is the best. He is the most intelligent person. Buddhi Sattama. So Uddhava is such a wonderful devotee. So Prabhupada writes that Vidurji was older than Uddhava like father. Father ke level pe hai na? And therefore Uddhava bowed down when he met Vidurji, but Vidurji embraced him. He didn't allow him to touch his feet. He embraced him. because Vidurji knew that he is such a great devotee of the Lord. So that is how a devotee always feels. So somebody may be Vayo Vriddha, but somebody may be Jnana Vriddha. He is elder in devotion, so he should be worshipped. He should be respected. So Vidurji knows he is a friend of Krishna. He is such a great devotee. So he didn't allow him to touch his feet. And Prabhupada paraphrases that verse also. Uddhava was a great scholar in logic. He was a student of Brihaspati. And Vidur asked Uddhava about the welfare of relatives. Although he already knew that there were no in the world. कोई बचा नहीं है, फिर भी पूछ रहे हैं. That is how a devotee always feels. नहीं, कुछ कोई तो होगा. That is how hope against hope. And a devotee cannot accept that Krishna चले गए क्या? In 15th chapter, first canto, similar. Yudhishthir इतना सारा क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, क्यों? His head is understanding, his heart is not accepting. इतना सारा symptoms आ रहा है, all these things are coming up and Yudhishthir understands. लगता है कृष्ण चले गए. Still, पूछ नहीं रहे. How can I accept this? So therefore, he is also asking so many questions. Because a person who has got relationship with Krishna, how can you accept? Satsangan mukta dosango hatum notsahate buddha kirtyamanam yasho yasya sakrit akarnya rochanam tasminyastadhiya partha saheran viraham katham darshan sparsha sanlapa shayanasana bhojanai. If somebody gets association of devotees, they cannot give up that association. But to speak of Pandavas, they are doing everything with Krishna. So that is described about Pandavas, Yudhishthira Maharaj. So therefore, Vidurji is also understanding everything. Still, he knew, सुन लिया news प्रभास क्षेत्र में ही चले गए, फिर भी पूछ रहे हैं. So it is. So Vidurji, when he embraced and he asked these questions, actually Uddhava fainted and he didn't respond. When he asked about Krishna and family of Krishna, Uddhava fainted. He didn't respond. So, and then somehow he came back to consciousness again. Prabhupada writes, this inquiry appears to be very pure, but Srila Jiva Goswami states that news was shocking to Vidura, who therefore inquired again due to great curiosity. His inquiry was psychological, not practical. Psychological inquiry है, मन नहीं मान रहा है, फिर दोबारा पूछ रहे हैं. Then Vidurji starts asking. So first he asks about the Lord, because the welfare of devotees depends on the welfare of the Lord. भगवान रहेंगे तो सब ठीक रहेगा. So he asks about the Lord first. Kachit Purano Purusho Swanabhya Padmanuvrityeha Kilanuvartino
Padmanuvrittaya Kilanavritya
Asata Urvya Kushalam Vidhaya
Asatavarya Kushalam Vidhaya
Krita Shanau Kushalam Shuragehe.
Who incarnated themselves at the request of Brahma. The prosperity of the world by elevating everyone or doing well in the house of Surasena.
So he is asking about Krishna first. Please tell me about the original personality who incarnated on the request of Brahmaji.
So how he got to know that Prabhat he went through? But has there any mention that he got to know that?
हाँ ये सुन लिया ना यहाँ पे, it is mentioned.
He came to know all his relatives had died in a violent fashion. So That is
All his relatives include Krishna also. He must have heard about Krishna. अभी सबके बारे में सुन लिया तो he must have heard about Krishna also. Because Bhagavatam many times doesn't give the details. थोड़ा बीच में there are lots of in between stories. Just like in the end of the Bhagavatam, it is said Parikshit Maharaj ko sunaya, and then Shukdev Goswami left, and then Takshaka came. But in between, many things happened. Uttara came, and she asked, "Oh Parikshit, oh my son, you have heard the whole Bhagavatam. Please tell me." वो उतरा आके पूछती है क्या सुना है मेरे को बताइए. Then Parikshit Maharaj summarizes entire Bhagavatam and speaks to her Brihad Bhagavatamrit. So the entire story of Brihad Bhagavatamrit is spoken by Parikshit to Uttara after Shukdev Goswami leaves. So उसमें दो स्टोरी आता है ना, एक गोप कुमार का स्टोरी आता है और एक नारद मुनि का ट्रैवल आता है. So to summarize the entire story of Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj makes a story. So he tells ये गोप कुमार गए वैसे. So that's how it is. So भागवत में बहुत सारा details नहीं देते हैं.
Only while visiting pilgrimage places, all names are never heard actually.
Saraswati rivers.
Because Saraswati itself is not there, right?
Others also many.
The provinces have changed, the names have changed.
If anybody has made an effort, which are the present.
अभी प्रेजेंट वाले हैं वो ही घूम ले, बड़ी बात है तो आपके लिए छोड़ दिया, आप कर लीजिएगा रिसर्च. So first he asks about Krishna, who incarnated on Brahma's request, and when Krishna was there, prosperity was reigning everywhere. That's what Kunti Maharani says. Oh Lord, you are now going, so all the prosperity we have is only because your lotus feet was here. Neyam shobhishyate tatra yathedanim gadadhara tatpadayrankita bhati swalakshana vilakshitai. अब आप चले जाएंगे तो it will be your bereft of fortune. Okay, we'll stop here. We'll continue from verse number 27. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Shila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
धन्यवाद प्रणाम धन्यवाद प्रणाम. हरे कृष्णा. धन्यवाद प्रणाम.
कृष्ण प्रभु जी दंडवत